we got some people showing up. And I'll recap everything once we get a couple more. Even though, to be honest, it feels, I don't know what the word is, cocky or complacent, assuming more people will join. But going off of historically, we should get more people joining in the next minute or two. And then I'll go over what we're doing, what's been done, what we're doing, why we're doing it, and other random updates. Not a Wankel engine. A good old auto cycle, 4-stroke, 4-cylinder, 1.6 liters of Fury, 4 pistons, 1 turbine engine. But 6 foot 420. I don't know if you were here last time, but I'll go over everything we're doing, or actually the one thing we're doing this time around. But I'll just wait. I need the drivetrain out of one of those for my Opel GT. I don't know much about Opel GTs, to be honest with you. I know it was a GM affiliated product. I don't know if it's still, I think it still is. I know nothing about the motor since we never had them. It is not an SR20. It is a good old Mazda 1.6. German GM imported, okay. Yeah, I don't know if the Mazda 1.6 liter is the best bang for your buck on a swap. I mean, it's a good motor, they're reliable, but it's not the most efficient. It's an iron block too, so it's not the most lightweight. Holy smokes, we're at 30. Okay, so I guess I'll explain what we're doing. I'm gonna assume most people here. Nope, not an SR20. Would be cool, but negative. I'm gonna assume most people weren't here last time or don't watch anything I put out. So this is a 92 Miata turbocharged. And we have been dealing with an overheating issue. There's a bunch of things that I've done to try to solve it, none of which have worked yet. And the thing that we are trying right now is there's a coolant inlet into the block that goes, hold on, let me turn on the light on my phone here. That goes right here. So that's the inlet. And then there's a hard pipe that runs under the exhaust and then goes right there into the heater core. And that part looks like this. And I had a leak coming from, which I changed last time, the O-ring that goes on this hard line. So we changed that O-ring, but then I destroyed the gasket removing it, so I had needed a new gasket for me to install this part. So the new gasket for my German friend there in the chat, from a German brand, we got a new gasket. So the game plan is to reinstall this, fill it with coolant, and then if time allows, I also have to figure out how I want to do it because I don't really want to start this car in this garage because, you know, emissions. We'll burp the cooling system and see how far we get. Yeah, this is a last-ditch effort to solve my overheating issue before I do something crazy, like pull the motor. Because the only thing left that I haven't changed is the head gasket. Mahle is a well-known brand. They are tier 1, direct supplier to a lot of OEM brands. Big sponsor of Formula One also. So this car, pretty related to the pinnacle of racing. So that being said, we can get, I don't know if anybody in the chat is familiar with other stuff going on, but the other project I've been working on, K-swapped MR2. I'm gonna do a little update here for everyone. K-swapped MR2 throttle, which is parked outside. I'm not gonna go look at it right now. Throttle position sensor. I needed a new one because that keeps smashing into the firewall. And I finally got that car running, as people saw, and I broke it. Because this sensor, and the clearance between this sensor and the firewall is like that much, and the engine moves around enough to smash the TPS. So we're gonna be changing that next time, but that's unrelated. Water pump thermostat, bleed the radiator, check the head gasket leaks. Okay, so water pump, did that, changed it. Thermostat, did that, changed it. Bleed the radiator, I've done my best to do that multiple times. Check head gasket leaks. I did a head gasket leak test where you have the blue liquid here, and then you pull air through to see if any emissions are making it into the coolant system and, you know, exposes any of those emissions. And that tested fine. So I did notice this piece here was leaking from here. So I assume the coolant system can't build pressure because every time not every time, but occasionally when I finish driving it, I'd park it and the coolant would be boiling. So when your coolant system can't pressurize, it boils over. That's the whole reason these radiator caps have a spring in them, because water boils at a higher temperature at a higher pressure. That's why pressure cookers are so efficient. They can cook your meals quicker because they can reach a higher temp. That being said, when I finished driving this thing, I'd have coolant boiling, and it'd be coming out of this overflow line. And upon further inspection, I found a leak, and it was, this whole area down here was wet, and it looked like it was coming from the inlet, which is right here, this joint right here. There's an O-ring in there that is known to leak, which I've already changed last time. So that's a new O-ring in there. Got the new gasket here from my German friend. And now we're gonna reinstall this. Pretty straightforward, but everything's really hard to reach. Change me ST, I don't know what that means, or all plastic hoses on this old 92 plus over the coming weeks and months. It deserves it. Believe me, I have so many plans and thoughts that I want to do to this thing, but evidently every car I touch, I break, so I can't have anything running long enough to actually make it nice. So that's my struggle right now. So there's plenty of things I would love to do, but I need them to work first. It's not I wouldn't say the car's a hunk of shit. I think I'm the shit. I think the car's fine. I think I'm the problem. I bet you only buy old cars. Kinda, yeah. The newest car I have right now is like a 2009, but I need a, make sure you don't have any coolant leaks. Well, that's what we're fixing now. This bad boy, this bad Larry there was leaking. Have you done the glove on the radiator fill trick? No, I have not. I don't know what that is. So, a lot of talking. Well, first, let's officially start this. Thank you. And then I'll do my best to answer as I work on the car. Working on this one-handed sucks. I'm also just kind of not good at talking, but I'll do my best. All right, so this part kind of is a pain in the ass because this is a hard line. So obviously it doesn't flex. And it mounts right here. And that is shared with the exhaust manifold stud right there. And as you can tell, there's not a lot of room to get a tool in there. So at some point, I'm gonna get really frustrated doing that. And hopefully I don't show you guys my ugly side. All right, so I guess we'll get started. So my plan is to hook this on to that stud I just showed and then align the rest of it up. This is already seated in there. I've cleaned the surfaces of the old gasket. If all fails, try changing the radiator cap. I did. I tried changing the radiator cap, did not work. All right, so this has to go in here. The soft line over here eventually will connect to there, which I believe goes back to the heater core. So now we need to get this in the ballpark of where it belongs. Something like that. And now that's the tab that's on the hard line that needs to align with this. That's what's gonna be hard to do. You sure you got the right radiator cap? Yes. Well, no, but kinda. So I believe this is what came with it. Same spring, even if it's like a slightly different pressure. I think this one is 1.1. I think that one was like 0.9 or something, but no gasket issues. The spring goes up and down on both. Fits on there snug on this eBay radiator. You need a small tripod. You know, I know, but I'm not an expert. This whole streaming thing, I kind of just did it to try, and then people watched it for some reason. And the problem is like if I put my phone on a tripod, one, I can't see the chat. Two, you can't see what's going on, but now I can reach in there and kind of show everyone the dirty side. I'll get better at it eventually. But I'm here to show reality. So this is the part that sucks. So I need to get that tab high enough, but the hard line's hitting the exhaust manifold there, so it's like this weird game of Tetris. Thanks, I'm gonna need a lot of luck with my project. So I'm gonna hook it onto this stud. I'm sorry if it doesn't focus. I just heard something fall, like a piece of hardware, but we're gonna ignore that. All right, so we got the tab of the hard line there. Now, back on the front, the actual inlet side to the block, let's see if it aligns nicely. There we go. I might say the words. This might actually go kind of easy. Hopefully I don't regret that. I did hear something fall. Oh, I see what fell. Right down there. Hose clamp on the subframe. There we go. So we're gonna need that for the actual coolant inlet line. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take the nut from that stud. I'm gonna thread it on here. So I have to kind of like break my hand in 6 places to be able to effectively reach this. It's really annoying. I have to go all the way around somehow. Oops. And then we'll get this going for a few threads just to make sure the mount for the hard line doesn't fall off. And now I drop the nut. I thought I had a magnet, but I don't. That's okay. Oh, also, you guys like that nice oil leak? That's pretty cool. When you turn on your AC, does the low fans turn on? This car does not have AC. Low fan speed does not stay on all the time. It just turns on when it's up to temp. Believe me, I've tried everything. And if this little leak doesn't fix it, I'm pulling the motor because I'm assuming it's a bad head gasket. But go ahead, keep throwing ideas out there because I am stumped. I'm about to drop this again. It's gonna make me mad. There we go. Nice. So now we're gonna slip this gasket on there. Held on by 2 bolts. Oil leak at rear main seal. Yep. The best type of oil leak. The one that requires the whole transmission to be removed and clutch. And what's the most depressing part is when the clutch was changed on this car, we did the rear main seal. But looks like we didn't seat it right or something. So that oil leak I'm just living with until I pull this motor for one reason or another, which depending on how tonight goes might be sooner rather than later. Let's see how I'm gonna do this. I also need those covers because I always end up leaning on the fender in here, and I'm so afraid I'm gonna, well, I am scratching it up, but I'm afraid I'm gonna do some real damage to the paint. I'm also delicately balancing my phone, which is not the best, but that's okay. We'll live with it for now. And I'm sorry if I'm blocking the light. We're gonna slip this gasket on there. Try our best not to damage it. Actually, what I'll do, get the top bolt through. And I drop the gasket, all right. When you drained the coolant, at any point did you see rust? No, the coolant was pretty clean. So when this problem started happening, it had antifreeze in it, so it was green, you know, like the glycol. And I refilled it, so the radiator had clear distilled water in it. The block still had the coolant in it. And I could see the fluid in the radiator start to turn green. So I knew it was circulating around. And then when I took it out, not really any rust and still green. in my, see, I like to keep my work area very clean. It's very important. But yeah, still green. And then over here in this pan, you can see it's slightly green, but mostly water. So no rust. What game am I playing? It's Car Mechanic Simulator, but it's this DLC where no matter what you do, it never runs. And you're actually just talking to yourself in a garage the whole time. All right, so we got one bolt. Got that top bolt biting by a couple threads. An engineer once told me that 1.5 threads, you got full engagement. But we're not gonna test that today. Now, we just gotta make sure this gasket doesn't get mangled, and we're gonna get that second bolt down there started. We'll give everything a once over and start tightening all this up. If anybody, actually, never mind. We're not gonna follow a torque spec, we're just gonna follow our hearts. So I push the bolt through. I'm trying to move the gasket so I can tell the bolt is also holding the gasket. Now I just gotta get it seated on the threads. And there it is. So far, so good. Also, not to mention the cooling capacity of this radiator with how thick it is way overkill for this motor, especially the way I drive it. So I should never see overheating, but I still am. All right, so coolant inlet housing, gaskets in place, 2 bolts, looking good there. Hard line looks to be sitting in there pretty straight. Follow it back, it's still on this tab. It's connected to this silicone line, which we will later connect to that. So everything's in place. We can slowly start tightening everything up. So this is why you never clean up or put your tools away. Now it's conveniently right where I left them. The tools are always ready for the next project. Size 12 socket. Now we looks like a recirculator wastegate. Yes, so open dump is fun and loud. I actually had a friend with it, but I think my days of loud cars are behind me. It's kind of depressing to say, but yeah, I try to be as incognito in this thing as I can. A fun fact is it does make the loudest thing about this car is probably the turbo flutter, because I actually am not running a dump valve. Or, not dump valve, blow-off valve. But yep, it's wastegate recirculated. It's actually got this Mac valve boost controller that is not mounted great right now because the 3D printed plastic bracket that we used, it broke. So that's another thing on the to-do list. But again, need this thing running. All right, 6420. So with warm engine, pop the radiator cap off carefully, then put a rubber glove or plastic bag over the radiator cap. Seal it good with a rubber band. Start and idle the engine. With a head gasket leak, it should inflate fairly quickly. At idle, check the exhaust back pressure. Should not inflate much. Okay, so yeah, because the combustion pressure is greater than the coolant, so the emissions will always get there. So, kind of similar to that, what I did, I had this block tester. I know it's not exactly the same, but you place it there, it seals all the way around, and then there's a blue fluid in here, and I had a little vacuum thing, so then it sucks the air through, and if you have any exhaust emissions going through there, it reacts with the fluid and turns into a brown color. And I sat here for like 10 minutes doing it, and it didn't do it. It should happen instantaneously. And then to test the fluid, I went to the exhaust, like end of the muffler over there, did it once, immediately turned brown. So I am pretty confident that there's no exhaust fumes in the coolant or in the cooling system. So for now, I want to say head gasket's good, but that's after this, that's literally the last thing I haven't looked at. So it might be head gasket, then I will pull the motor and refresh it anyways, or do something, or just give up. How are you regulating pressure without blow-off valve? Blow-off valve does not regulate boost pressure. Blow-off valve does, your air goes in, gets compressed, so you enter, positive pressure through all these lines up to your intake. So when that's open, there's positive pressure, you're forcing more into the cylinder. When this closes, your throttle valve, butterfly valve on your throttle body closes, you have residual pressure here. That's when the blow-off valve gets rid of it. But what I do is it just goes back into the turbine, which is not good for the turbo, but it makes a cool fluttering noise. So for now, we're gonna run it. No smoke from exhaust. Yes, I've been told there is smoke from the exhaust, but this thing burns oil, so inconclusive. No smells. This car makes all sorts of smells. This thing burns oil. I'm not sure why. It just always has, maybe because the motor has 170,000 miles on it. But I haven't seen it myself, so I can't tell if it's blue or white smoke. So inconclusive on the smoke. I gotta take my sweater off. We're getting hot and bothered. Sorry guys, I have to put you down for a second. Okay, can you tell me how your fan relay is hooked up? Do you have a two-speed relay? I don't think it's a two-speed relay. I think it's it's just an on-off. There's two coolant temperature sensors. One of them is for the needle and the gauge cluster. The other one is actually for the ECU. The one for the ECU, I've changed what temperature. I'm running a mega squirt, and I've changed what temperature to kick the fan on at to like really early, just to make sure it's working, and it is working. So when it reaches that, 180 or whatever I have it set on, the fan does kick on. What kind of car? 1992 Mazda Miata. All right, so back on our mission. These two bolts are snugged up. They're not tight all the way. Now we're gonna do this will be a great time for questions because this bolt sucks and I can only do like 1/8 of a turn at a time because I can't fit a tool in there. But this is that part right there. That's sorry guys, it's not focusing. This actually, so shaky. This right here is what holds the hard line in place that we just installed. No relays on the fans themselves. I'm sure it does. I don't remember off the top of my head. But what are you getting at with the relays? Because I know it works. I know the fans are turning on when they should. So I'm not quite following the path you're going down. No, it's not a 2JZ. It's a stock 1.6 liter Miata motor. The relays on the fans, if any, might be bad. Well, it wouldn't turn on at all if the relays are bad. This is gonna be terrible, guys. But you know what? I can't lose my composure. I'm a cool guy. I don't get mad at things like this. But I have to find a way to get my hand in there. I've just had them do low speed before. That's a good thought, but I would bet money that this is just a simple on-off. I don't think there's a high-low speed. We want to go that way. So watch this, guys. Look at this progress I'm about to make. I get like a pizza slice of a turn each time. No, manifold's not coming off. I just had to change a coolant line. Thank God the manifold's not coming off. It's an undertaking I'm not ready for. Not a Subaru. Mazda. Matsuda, as they say in Japan. Yep. Quarter turn at a time. And like the worst part is I can't even get this ratcheting end on because it's too close. So I have to do it this way. And I have to, you know, do it from underneath, of course. So there's no way that this also gets torqued properly, but that'll just be our little secret. I want to learn about engine, very interesting. Well, feel free to ask anything. Do I have forged internals? I do not. Completely stock internals on this thing. 170 something thousand miles on it. About 10 PSI of boost. German torque, yep, Guten tight. And so far, stock internals minus the little oil burn I have, it's holding up still. And I'm not necessarily nice to this thing when I drive it, which might have something to do with why it's broken all the time, but you know, what's the point of building it if you're not going to drive it? And besides, when you break something, you find out what the weakest point is. Oh, I got to give my wrist a break. My forearm is doing a lot of work there. It's all pure finger strength. Yep. So we'll tighten those two bolts up. Then we'll go back to, we'll tighten that one bolt up that we're just doing. We'll come back and we will tighten those two up, then hook up all the Miata life, sure. Get cams with stock internals, then you can make more power at the same boost level. So power's like 6th or 7th on my list of worries and concerns about this car right now. Cams, yeah, theoretically easy. You just drop them in from the top, and like the lift duration and all that, it'll let the engine breathe a little easier. It's a Garrett GT 2560R. But yeah, we are trying to get this thing running reliably. That's phase one. We're still on phase one of my 73 phase plan. Where did I put my tool? There it is. What are your concerns with this besides the cooling issues? Okay, so great question. So concerns, it does burn oil. Concern number 2, it leaks oil. And then it's a bunch of little small things. Like for example, like I pointed out earlier, the Mac valve for the boost controller was 3D printed. The 3D print broke, so now it's just zip tied, like cleaning up little things like that. Cam, yes, probably needs a retune after that. And yes, the car is dyno tuned. Well, it's like 80% dyno tuned. I got it dyno tuned, then we turned the boost up, and then we just kind of, for that last like 1,000 RPM, we just kind of data logged and street tuned it. Phase 3, install Crate 350 for reliability. You know, you're not wrong. My motor swapping days are behind me. I've become jaded. I don't call myself the worst mechanic for nothing. I only want what's best for you. Well, that makes one of us. I appreciate it. I'm an old soul is what I am. Oh my God, sorry. Turning this wrench, so I have to do a quarter turn, turn the wrench around, and then do the next quarter turn. And it's kind of hard to do it. Hey, thanks. I know I have time. It's, you know, you kind of have to be like skilled and driven and motivated and handsome. And I lack some of those qualities. Like, I would love to have a car right now that I can just get in and turn the ignition and not think about it and drive it. And the last time I remember having that is when I had a stock FRS. I used to beat on it and never had to worry about it because yours truly did not change anything. Oil is coming from the rear main seal, so that's going to be a major job for a, you know, $5 part. I do have a ratchet set, but the problem is it doesn't fit on there. See, no matter how hard I try, it will not fit because this car is just full of cruel, cruel jokes. Any project car is really. So we're just gonna cruise here at a nice steady pace of 1 turn per minute. But we're getting there. It does kind of bum me out that you do a lot of work and the, you know, the exhaust manifolds are made from iron, so they rust and kind of look like shit at a quick glance. All right, it's actually getting tight. So now I'm gonna use all the finger strength I have to get it reasonable. But it's funny, I've gotten to the point where I don't like tightening this too much because I have a feeling I'm gonna take it off again. No, these headers are TDO Performance. TDO Performance headers and downpipe. All right, so hardest bolt of the day, torqued. All right, pop quiz. Does anybody know the torque spec of the coolant inlet? Don't turn boost up until you gap the rings. I blew my ring lens on my 240 with a SR20. Too much heat expanded the rings. Oh, interesting. That's a problem I would never think of. So considering that this is has a paper gasket essentially and it's going into aluminum threads, we're not going to tighten it too much. But if anybody here watches any of my videos, you guys know that I just love breaking bolts. 1997 Toyota Tercel has original muffler, no rust. That's incredible. I think I did about 14 and 19 foot-pounds there. Hey, that's incredible. Rust-free is hard to come by, at least in my area. I can't believe it's already been 41 minutes. I made a socket with a wrench head on the other end just for this situation. Yeah, I should start thinking of the custom tools considering how often I'm doing this. Okay, so let's assume that my hand here is nice and calibrated. So these two are torqued. That one up there is done to the best of my ability. So we got the actual big coolant line that we have to attach right there. So that line goes from the radiator and feeds in. So let's do that. But to make our lives easier, let's see if we have the correct nut driver size for this. I just need to find where my nut drivers are, because I thought they were down here. As always, nice and organized. Nut driver. Oh, there they are, right where they belong. I hate those screw clamps. Me too. It's a necessary evil right now. At the very, like, they don't clamp right because they don't apply even pressure. I want to do a spring clamp like this. Honestly, that one might even be the right size. But I'm just a hack job. I'm not gonna do that right now. What is engine polish? It's polish you use on an engine. It's a nice compound that will polish aluminum or magnesium. Sorry. I'm just trying to find the right size for this. Filming is not great while I do that, I'm sorry. I have to do all this one-handed, remember. You know what? I'm just gonna put this down and not do this like a Neanderthal. Too small. There we go. Can I ask a question? You can ask all the questions you want. There we go. That's the right size. So that'll make it easier to tighten it up when it's on there. So, I told you 5 stinks. I don't know what 5 means. So, we are going to put the hose clamp on. Oh, I was wondering what this was, but what am I looking at here? Oh, that's a reflection. I was wondering why it was so discolored. Oh, 5/16. 5 stinks. Oh, got it. All right, so we put the hose clamp on, make sure that the hardware is facing the right side. Of course, it's not open enough. Yeah, it is. Cool. You're a loser, bro. Yeah, I know. We all are. But you're commenting on a loser stream, so how does that make you feel? I have a 2014 Mark III Focus AT, I'm assuming automatic transmission. I've done an oil change, couldn't get the filter off, but already drained the oil from the drain hole. I have a tool coming and we'll change filter ASAP. Yeah, that sucks. Can I reuse the oil orbits better to put more fresh oil? What are oil orbits? They play a video game, PlayStation Gran Turismo. Oh, manual ST. Those are cool. What do you mean by oil orbits? Hose is on. We're gonna get the spring clamps on. Reuse the oil? No, I would never reuse oil. The risk to reward, you're saving yourself. Still a week old, I know. It sucks, it hurts, but think of imagine you get the smallest little particle of something in that oil and then you put it back in and one of those gets stuck in your bearings. Then you're out a, $5,000 engine job. Rather than spending $50 on fresh oil. And believe me, I know it hurts. I don't know if you watch anything else I do, but I have another car I work on, and I've pulled the motor on that car a disgusting amount of times with fresh oil in it, and it hurts every time, but it's just not worth the gamble. And I've been tempted. I have been tempted, but never done it. Oh, hello from Japan. Were you here last time from Japan, or do I have another person from Japan? That's crazy. Love your cars. All right, I need to tighten these clamps. One of which is on backwards, so that's a pain. I'm sorry, you can't see the chat right now. So the hose is all the way on. Now we're gonna put the ring clamp on. Where's the guy that called me a loser? That pissed me off. I blew this cylinder head after 4 months of owning it. How'd you do that? Did you mod it or something? Or is it just that good old Ford engineering that I hear so much about? All right, we gotta tighten the spring clamp. I really don't like just don't like spring clamps. $57,000, 57,000 miles and you blew a head on it? That's rough. Where am I from? New England. Is the MR2 being driven at the moment? All right, so I'll take a break from touching these clamps because now I'm seeing some familiar names in here. So MR2, as you guys saw, if you watched this stream, we did the gas tank replacement on it and it's been driving great. So obviously I got comfortable, started driving it a little bit harder. Sorry. I only have 2 hands. I need to cut the tape somewhere. I don't know where this box opens. What a package monster. So I was driving the MR2, and of course I'm driving it hard, beating on it. And now, for the 3rd time now, I have had to order a throttle position sensor. So, just to demonstrate, for anybody that may not be familiar, you have a throttle cable that's attached to the pedal. So when you press your gas pedal, it pulls on this cable, which in turn pulls on this. In here is a little flap that opens when you do that, and that lets more air into the engine so the engine goes faster, right? On the other side of that flap, like this, there's a throttle position sensor. So the little thing turns right here, turns in here. That tells the engine's computer how much you're pressing the gas pedal. On my MR2, this sits right up against the firewall. And now for the third time, if I drive that thing hard, the engine moves enough where it's just smashing into the firewall and it breaks the throttle position sensor. I've had this happen 3 times now, and I need to come up with a solution to make that robust. Either somehow space it out further forward, further away. I'll show it next time. I don't know if that's going to be a live stream or a video, but I need to come up with a clever way to move this, because I've tried, hitting the firewall with a sledgehammer, and I didn't either hit it hard enough or whatever. I don't want to cut the firewall. The engine mounts are new. They're brand new engine mounts. So that's an update on the MR2. Other than that, runs great. And yeah, LDY, that sucks. That's a lot of money to spend on a low mileage car, and that's really rough. I tried hammering the firewall, and I can't do it enough. So the way my current plan right now is the firewall's kind of angled like this, just not quite parallel to it. I want to space the throttle body out just a tiny bit more to create a larger gap, and I think that'll get me there. But I haven't looked at it enough to come up with an idea. But I did try hammering the firewall. I just, to get the leverage I need to pull that motor, and I refuse to do that again. Paid $9K for the car too. Take this thing for example. So everything from when it was bought to all the modifications to it, I did it with my buddy. It was his car. I have the videos. Anybody that's familiar with my stuff, I've recorded the process of everything we've done to this. So he's owned it for years. I buy it off him because he was going to sell it, and I just did not want to let this thing go because it's pretty clean and we've put a lot of work into it. So I didn't want it to go away. I wanted to keep it in the family. And within 2 months of me owning it, it starts overheating, and I've been chasing it since. So he's been driving around 5 years, and I've witnessed it, and I've witnessed all the work that's gone into it. And then me being just the terrible car owner I am, starts overheating on me. So sometimes it's just like that. It's unfortunate. Make a shield and a pad. That's not a shield hadn't occurred to me yet. That's not a bad idea. Maybe I'll do that. I was gonna ask a friend of mine to machine a spacer for the throttle body, but we'll see how that goes. I don't know why there's 2 clamps here, but I'm inclined to continue the tradition. Could you use longer bolts so they hit first? Well, the problem with the bolts is, like, I'd rather have a $20 plastic sensor break rather than the throttle body. It's the aluminum threads in the throttle body. Because if the throttle body breaks, then I have to replace that, and that's $200. All right, so these clamps are tight. It's a good way to think about it. Can I put grease on a clutch cable just a little bit? Why would you want to do that? So, coolant inlet to the block. Oh my God, that looks so hack job, but I just want to prove it works before I fix anything. Next is this line that goes into the turbo. Little silicone line. Easy to reach. Put that on there. And then we gotta move that, we gotta loosen that clamp, then move it further down. The stupid tool barely fits. I might have to use a flathead. There we go. Oh, this is actually a perfect example of why I don't like ring clamps. Oh man, I was hoping the camera, okay, there we go. See that gap? See how on the top there? Right on this side, see how there's a gap there? Ring clamps never, you know, evenly compress all around. It's always compressing on two sides, which is the perfect, you know, example of why not use a ring clamp, but do as I say, not as I do, right? I'm sorry, everyone, I'm gonna have to put you down again. There we go. It's not a bad angle. And to compensate for poor quality and install, we just over tighten it. Like every good skilled mechanic. So that's on there tight. So we got the coolant inlet to the block tight. That's actually tight, that's tight. So the last thing, I believe the last, what's with the blue bare wires? Oh, so this would be for the AC fan, but I don't run AC. So the plan was to eventually just to splice the two fans, but have not done that yet. Remember, hack job, I'm a hack job. I don't do things the right way. Another thing for anybody that's watching this to learn for whatever reason, plenty of better places to learn, fittings always have this end on it. You want to clamp past that. You don't want to clamp on this, otherwise you'll leak. You want to clamp over here. This is the actual retention feature. So you'll notice that whenever I put a hose on, the clamp will always be kind of further back here. Yep, flange, that's the word a smart person would say, but I was drawing a blank on it and I tried to dance around it, but you called me out. I know people probably know it, but there might be just one person that hasn't had the confidence to try something themselves yet. So whatever knowledge I can pass down, it's kind of the whole reason I like to do this Plus, there's a lot for me to learn that I can learn from people. We have a 4G64 on our garage, 15-year stock. I don't know about engine. What's the 4G64 out of? Is that an Evo motor? I gotta put my phone down again, I'm sorry. But you guys are gonna be right on the turbo, that's pretty cool. Oh, Eclipse, that's what it is. Didn't the Eclipse and the, didn't the Eclipse and the Evo 9 share a block? The the all-wheel drive turboed version of the Eclipse. Also the Eagle Talon, when they did their DSM collaboration. Was it only the Eagle Talon? I thought the Evo 9 had that motor as well. Why didn't I angle this up? What am I doing? There we go. There we go. That's also German spec. That's sehr guten Zeit. Oh, safety. I want to put the blade away. What's the 63? Oh, that's the 63. Oh. You're like an encyclopedia of this car stuff. I see you comment on everybody's videos, and then you always comment whenever somebody brings up a different model, you know a little bit about it. This guy's all over the place. All right, so let's review for my own sanity. From the heater core, we just tighten that. We never loosen that down there. That's tight. Those are tight. To the turbo's tight. From the radiator is tight. So we actually should be good to start filling this thing. Yeah, me too. I try to learn about a bunch of them. Should stick to learning, stop working on them. You try to turn the crank, but it's hard now, not rotating. Well, if it's hard to rotate, that doesn't mean it's a problem. It could have just been sitting for a while. Because remember, all the lubrications and everything inside the motor will go to the bottom. As long as it's not like as long as the crank can actually turn and it's not hitting something hard, the motor still might be good. It depends how long it's been sitting. But I would definitely, before you start turning it a lot, through the plugs, I would put a tiny bit of oil on the top. So the oil goes on top of the cylinder and then just starts going around and lubes up the cylinder walls. So when you turn it, the pistons go up and down, you're not, you don't have metal on metal contact. That'd be my recommendation for that motor. So I think now's the part. I think now's the part where we fill it up. So let's do that. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna jack the front end of this car up. I'm just gonna make sure the e-brake's pulled and we're in gear. Oh, the last thing we want to do, the drain plug. I want to make sure I tighten that on the bottom of the radiator. I did not. Good thing I caught myself. There we go. So that's good. Are you gonna start it tonight? I was just asking myself that same question. So I could roll it back and kind of stick the back of the car outside and then start it so all the exhaust fumes go out. Little insider info, I am moving soon, so I don't really care if my neighbors get annoyed. ECU supposed to turn on AC fan when hot like dual fan stages? No, I don't think so. I think the AC fan's completely independent. All right, but for now, let's fill this bad Larry. You don't have a dryer hose handy, do you? You know, I was thinking the same thing. I do not have a dryer hose handy, so I could just route it out. I know, I'm stupid. I should have thought of that. Maybe if I my property managers do a sweet job repairing, as you see, maybe they left something behind I can steal. Two-step it. Fun fact. Right here, two-step switch. Except that switch isn't wired up anymore. Ever since this thing got a muffler, because we're not trying to blow the muffler packing out. I'm from the north, thank you, and I'm from the Northeast. Yeah, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna carefully roll this thing back. And then we'll start it for a little bit, but I don't know if I'm gonna get it up to operating temperature. And if my neighbors get mad, that's what you gotta do for internet clout. What is your car manual transmission? 5-speed. My Saturn has the same switch, but it's wired to a cigarette lighter. Cigarette lighter, back when cars were for real men. It's also really cold out. No, but I'm pretty sure with my agreement, I'm not supposed to be doing work in my garage. I'll use my, I can't show. I'm slowly going backwards. There we go. E-brake. We're in neutral. That's far enough out there. Now we can play the game. What is this from Miata or is this from my MR2? This rust is telling me MR2, so we're gonna ignore it. Throw it in the MR2 pile. That's my sweet rear main seal right there. So normally I fill up with just distilled water. That's not how you do that. That is exactly how I do it. But this time I have to do antifreeze because the weather here is getting cold and one of my cars has to live outside and that car will be the Miata. So the MR2 can be in here and I can't keep water in there or else it's gonna freeze in the system. Is K-seal good for a head gasket problem too? I'm sorry, but I have no idea. So I need a 50-50 mix. So I'm gonna pour this into there, mix it. and just keep filling it up. But first I'm gonna jack the front end of this up. No lunar. I don't know what that means. Am I doing something wrong? Lada Kalina? We don't have Ladas here, I'm sorry. See, Cyrillic, and you ask about Ladas. Are you from Russia? Kakdela. Oops. Just push everything over. We're gonna jack the front of it up. Normal, no. Хорошо. That's pretty much all the Russian I know, so don't ask anything else. All right, hopefully this garage door doesn't fall. I'll trust the springs on it. So, how old is that jack? Pass. Want to get it below the front subframe. And then start to raise this sucker up. And we'll raise it. Yes, it won't work and gum up your cooling system. Are you talking about, oh, you're talking to Lunar. Okay, don't scare me like that. We're both working on cooling systems. Water gets in the oil and the car keeps switching off. Yeah, you got a big problem there. Big head gasket problem. All right, let's make our concoction. We'll do roughly 50-50. This is just to verify antifreeze plus coolant concentrate, so we have to dilute it ourselves. I need a funnel, which I'll use this one. And we're just gonna eyeball 50-50 here. Some nice glycol. There we go, close enough. Now, we move up over here and do the same thing. So, before I do that, we are dry. So if we see anything wet down there, it's new. The eBay special. So I don't know what kind of radiator it is exactly, but it's straight off of eBay, knockoff. Not enough blinker fluid. Sorry, that took 100% of my brain power, so I wasn't really talking. All right. Well, hopefully it starts. We're gonna do the same thing. So distilled, very important. Otherwise, you're gonna get all sorts of mineral buildup. Now this is good content. A little bit more. That's roughly half. So while I'm doing this, a question for the 50 or so people watching. How many have seen a video I've made before, and how many just found this stream randomly scrolling through? I'm always curious about that. And so a bunch of just randoms. Interesting. It's always interesting how that works. I feel like I never see people live when I'm scrolling through. All right, so this is gallon number 2. You've watched my 2ZZ videos? Well, I hope they're helpful. Those are old, though. Sometimes I watch all the old videos I made and see how shitty they are. I mean, not that my new ones are much better, but... yeah, a lot of game streaming. So I randomly streamed this and then got a bunch of views. Well, in my opinion, a bunch. And usually when I see people streaming, they have like 5 or 6. So I was like, oh, that worked well. And I keep doing it and people keep showing up. So it's pretty cool. And it actually motivates me to work on my cars. Now I feel obligated when I tell people I'm going to be live. Usually I just put it off because I'm lazy. So radiator is pretty full. So now what we'll do, I'm going to prep this to go. C2H5OH vodka. I don't know organic chemistry, so I'm sorry. Engine oil, what brand? Castrol. Or sorry, Pennzoil. Platinum Premium. Ultra. That's the brand I go with. It has good anti-wear properties and it doesn't evaporate too much, so for its price, 5W30, it's fine. Depends on your climate, and just do whatever the manufacturer says in the manual. So this won't be perfect 50-50 dilution, but it'll be good enough. I just need it to not freeze. good enough. Keep that Miata hydrated, that's right. Okay, so we have this ready to go. The radiator's full. I'm sure if I squeeze these lines, it'll start to go down. Yeah, I can hear the air working its way up. That's okay. I'll start the car to get everything circulating, and we should expect that to go down. So, just a disclaimer, this car starts pretty poorly. It's on the to-do list. Make sure we're in neutral so we don't take off. Oh yeah. Fire's right up. AFR heating up. So we're not leaking coolant, but we have oil. Can you guys hear when I talk? Or can you only hear the car? Okay, good. So we're gonna let this run for a second, not too long because it already smells in here, and I don't want that CO detection to go off, because then this stream will quickly become a shit show. We're gonna let it run for a second. Hopefully this coolant starts circulating. And we can help it along by kind of trying to squeeze the air out of these lines. But so far we're dry under here. I'm gonna add just a little bit more. Oh, I just had a genius idea. I'm gonna turn this blower on to blow outside. That might make it too loud, but we'll see. Oh yeah. Only subscribe if you want to. So kind of a hot take of mine is I hate it when people constantly ask for likes and subscribes, because it's just digital panhandling. But if you find this entertaining, then I'm glad. Engine sounds rough. Yeah, it's got that notorious lifter tick, but we're running larger injectors, and those are a little bit louder. The engine, for the most part, seems kind of healthy. Air fuel is good. temp gauge slowly getting up there. Oh, I should turn the heater on too. There we go. Now I bet we'll see some movement. All right, so heater's on. We're slowly going up to temperature. Coolant level's still good. This is warm now. So the part that sucks is I want this to be higher than that. And that's just not the case. I mean, I can jack it up a little bit more. Can you show the fan setup? Yeah. 2 fans, no shroud or anything. Wired into this, where is it? Oh. Plugs into here, which plugs into this connector, and then that just goes off with the rest of the harness. What I should have done is I should have grabbed my laptop, plugged it into the ECU, and monitored the temperature that way. So right now we're just gonna play it by ear. So this is slowly getting warm. This inlet is still cold though, so the outer circuit still hasn't opened. So temperature's getting there. This line, the inlet is still cold, so that tells me we're still not at operating temperature. Oh man. Oops. There we go. We're still cold down here. Thermostat is here and it's new. I don't know how to say new in Russian. Is it like Nova? Yep, heater's on. Four, all the way there. I don't know why it won't focus on the numbers. Where's my reservoir? This car does not have a reservoir. it'll just come down this way. Hey, look, it's going up. A 1.6 liter Miata engine. Accelerator? Oh no, I can't do that. I'm not gonna rev it. I'm in a tiny garage. So this is all hot. This is warm. We're still cold down on the bottom though. So I think this is just starting to open up. So I think we're starting to get a circulation. And the fan is still not on. So it's getting there, it's in the middle. I feel the heat here in the cabin. Oil pressure, when the oil's up to temp, it'll dip down to like 28. I'll give it like another 2 minutes and then I'll probably call it. No leak here. Only thing that's leaking is this, but that's from the overflow, which is steaming, but it's also pretty cold in here. It is also pretty hot up here. So I expect the thermostat to be open now. Why did you jack the engine up? So when you think of when you have bubbles in a drink, the bubbles want to go up. So any air in here, we want to make this the highest point so all the air escapes there. We don't want any air in the system. So that's why we jack the car up like that. Except I don't know if this is a normal amount of overflow. Oh, put the pan under. See, that's how stupid I am. I would have never thought of that. This is why I need you guys. Like, why didn't I think of that? Because I'm dumb. Yeah, I need you. You don't need me. Remember that. So this still isn't very warm. And this line is the inlet. I still don't have the fan on, but this is all pretty hot. Like if you can see it. I just want this fan to kick on because that'll tell me we're definitely circulating all the way through. But like this is warmer than the inlet, so that tells me we still don't have full circulation. We do see a little steam, but I have the door open and it's cold out. Bull? I don't know what bull is. I'm sorry. Bubble, you mean, maybe? Did my thermostat work before? Yes, but I also did change it. I did not test it with hot water. You may need to bring the RPMs up. Yeah, I'm trying to avoid doing that. I'm gonna give it like another minute, then I'll give it a little bit. Did you put it in backwards? Nope, went in the same exact way it came out. And I'm pretty sure there's only one way I can put it in. Water pump was also already changed. Come on, fan. Yeah, I'll do it in a second. So the needle's where it should be. A giveaway that we're overheating will be when this starts to run a little richer. Right now we're at like 12.5. So if I see that go down to 12.3, then I'll probably kill it. Also, the oil pressure is still at 30. Usually when it dips down below that, we're running a little hot. Do I have air in the system? Oh, it went down. Thermostat opening, hopefully. This feels warm now, but I don't know if it's warm because it opened or if it's just... Oh yeah, this is definitely warm. I think we're circulating now. What do we think about this movement? Do you think that's air bubbles, or do you think this thing is boiling on me again? But see, it's raising up on its own. So that must be air just going through. Uh-oh, we're about to overflow here. Yeah, I know it expands. Oh yeah, this is still hot. Nope, no fan still. Man, I wish I had my laptop to to hook up to it. It's an oversight on my part, but next time I'll do it. Yeah, it feels like it's circulating because this inlet is hot now. Now I'm just waiting for this fan to kick on. So I know it expands when it's hot. Bottom of the radiator is warmed up. Yep, definitely warm. Should I top this thing off when it's cold? Like when my car's been parked, should I open that and top off the radiator? No? Oh, well, I've been doing that wrong. Are you trying to burp it? Yeah, I am. Oh, there we go. That was a big bubble. And looks like it's flowing. Oh, there's the fan, I think. Yep, fan's on now. There's the proof that it's on. Imagine my turbo just sucked it up. All right, so that was definitely a pretty strong breeze. I would assume it's high, and it just turned off. Now, should I top this up? Adding cap. All right, yes, sir. Oops, too much. As you say, not too much, I do too much. I'll let this overflow a little bit. No, I've graduated from rags. I got a pan. So, needles right in the middle. Oil pressure is where it should be, and we're not running any richer. We're still in the 12.7, so everything's looking good. But I see the car, so I know you're balling. I mean, I'm not balling. I'm fortunate to have a project car, but all right, turned on again. Thermostat's open. Fan is definitely blowing nice hot air right into, oh, there you go. That's what it looks like. All right, so we're gonna cap this off. Now when you go overheat, is all of a sudden or gradual? It's gradual. I park it and the thing's boiling over and it's just pissing coolant out. But we are not leaking down here. So my theory is that this leak over here wasn't letting the system pressurize, so it was boiling before it reached the, starting to boil before it reached the operating temperature. Or like it was boiling too easily. But we're dry. All right, before I turn it off, should I do a little turbo noise for the boys? Yeah, I don't have a res to take. All right, turbo noise. Who cares about neighbors? Yeah, my garage door is open. My neighbors hate it. All right, I'm gonna turn this thing off. Everything's stable. Yeah, stream audience over neighbors. All right, I'm gonna lower this. And we're gonna let all these exhaust fumes in here vent outside. I'm gonna add this to my nice safe check it when it's cold for sure, but I'm sure you'll be fine with no leaks. Oh, I saw a comment earlier about the combustion gases. So, yeah, no, I won't forget the pan. I did this block tester. So you put that on, you suck air through here, and there's a liquid in here. And I did that for like 10 minutes, and there was no combustion gases. So, as far as I know, no combustion gases in the coolant system. Mazda Yandex taxi. It's a Mazda Miata or MX-5. And yeah, taxi color. All right, so we're looking okay. So let's move our workshop. This is that O-ring that I think was leaking, by the way. What is a meter? How we get reservoir for the coolant? Yeah, I know I know you guys have heard this a lot, but it's on the list. It's just coolant, it'll be fine. Now I gotta push this forward. I'll do the lights for you in a second. Is the gearbox broken? No. There we go. Oh, yeah, here you go for whoever asked. Oh, man. Okay, I can hear myself think again. Okay, so I'll call that a success. Well, for now, can you make them wink? Not asking you to. I can, but I know it's bad for the motors and it takes me a while to do it. It is the coolest part of the car. All right, so hopefully we're okay. I guess I'll drive this thing at some point this week and see where we're at. Because the way my situation is I have a driveway right there and I have all 3 cars parked in a row. So I need to like shuffle them all around what's gonna be in the garage. And winter is approaching, and usually I stuff 2 cars in here, butts to nuts. And then third one lives outside. And the reason I put, instead of just distilled water, I put the antifreeze in it is so that when this lives outside and gets below freezing, I don't have the coolant in there freezing, expanding and causing cracks. Does it snow a lot there? Yes, it does. Well, the last couple of years it hasn't, luckily, but yes, it does freeze a lot. Or sorry, snow a lot. And this thing doesn't have any rust, and I'd like to keep it that way. It's kind of a rarity in this area. Not to say it's perfect, but no rust. Yeah, unfortunately, it's not just Miatas. All cars are going, getting more expensive. Thank you. The engine bay, we pulled the motor and we cleaned everything. Don't get me wrong, we could like tuck the harnesses and all that, which I would love to do one day, and just, get nicer, fresher hardware. But I'd love to have one of those nice fancy engine bays one day. But I think it looks all right for now. There's also just a lot of hack job solutions that are right in your face. Like this old AC plug, these clamps, I just hate that that's like the first thing you see. So I'll be addressing that one day in the far future. So yeah, I've been working on my cars every Saturday, live streaming it, and it's been a good motivation to actually get things done. If you saw it peaking when I had the door open, I have 2 things now on my list, but the other one I might actually make an actual video of, but I have to replace the throttle body sensor on my MR2 because the other one broke. And then the other thing I need to do, which I have not made any videos about or revealed it or anything, I have a K-Truck, a Honda Acti, and I need to rebuild the carb, which I've never done before. So I was thinking of live streaming that. I paid $5K for my SW20 MR2 hardtop, only 200 left. Oh, wow. Nice. I do, but I have the generation no one likes. I have an MR2 Spider. I got a K-swapped MR2 Spider. So ZZW30. Yes, I do. I've never... Yeah, the hairdresser version. But I think I spiced it up enough, theoretically. Underrated platform, that's what I'll say. They are ugly, but underrated. I do own a K-Truck. I've never made any videos of it, but it does need work. I have... Let me see. Let me open this real quick, if I can. Or is it in here? Sorry, I know. Just the package has my address on it, and I don't want to show that to the internet. So just bear with me for a moment. This is on my list. So it's a K-Truck carb rebuilding kit. And I have 0 experience with carbs. So I thought of live streaming that next to see how that rebuild goes and kind of figuring it out and showing the process, and most importantly, maybe getting some help because I've never dealt with one. So maybe people will be interested in that, or I'm gonna do this throttle position sensor, but I might actually make a real video I might make a, no, I'm quite a ways from Idaho, but I do appreciate it. But I might make a real video about the throttle position because I have been lacking on making any videos of anything. And like I said, these streams have been motivation to work on things. So it's how I've been spending my Saturday nights. So before I end this, any other questions about this car, any of the other cars or anything? I do appreciate the you're welcome, Lunar. I appreciate all the help. I got helpful tips today. So I'm just your typical idiot trying to figure it out. So yeah, plan. Don't want to be nosy. What's the winter car? It's a beater Mazda 2, but I need to get a new daily. Do you have any rims for sale from the Miata? I do not. I'll have wheels for my MR2. Well, I want new wheels for my MR2, but they won't fit on the Miata. They're too big. I've just subscribed. Thank you. I'm hoping to get enough subscribers to go live and work on the 2GR DQ 250 swap and full suspension for my motivation. Nice. Well, if anybody's interested in that, go check out his profile, Mr. Ryan 770. But yeah, that's the to-do list. So now I'm gonna drive this thing and hopefully it's not gonna overheat anymore. Object number 2, throttle position on the MR2. And object number 3, Honda Acti carburetor rebuild. Because the Acti, I'll give a quick backstory on how dumb I am. When I did my MR2, it was abandoned for 12 years when I bought it. And I had a bunch of old gas in it. And I put it in, it was only a little bit. And I put it in the Acti and I diluted it with new gas because I just didn't know how to get rid of it. And I thought that thing could run through anything. And lo and behold, now it kind of runs like shit. And it has for a while, so I think something's just gunking up the carburetor, so I need to take it apart and clean it. So fully self-inflicted, like a lot of these problems. So that's a little behind the scenes of how dumb I actually am. But on the bright side, usually when I run the greetings from Russia. I'm sleeping. I don't understand English. Use Google Translate. Spasibo. Thank you for watching. And I hope you found it interesting and entertaining. Back to what I was going to say. The good news is usually when I run this car, I can feel the coolant boiling in here, and it's coming out of this, and right now we're good. It's not boiling, so we may have done the right thing. Throttle position on the K-Series isn't difficult, 2 bolts. Yes, it is, it's 2 bolts, but on the MR2, the problem is it's still not terrible, but it's facing the back. And I have a reoccurring issue where there's enough play in the motor, if I drive it hard, the throttle position sensor hits the firewall. So that's the 3rd one I'm installing now. So the real issue is I need to come up with a solution to keep that from happening. I have new engine mounts. I have the optional 4th mount and all that. I just gotta put my thinking cap on for a second and come up with a solution. Funny thing about poly bushings, I went back from urethane bushings to stock MR2 bushings because the original mounts I had in there were just way too vibrating and way too harsh, because my tolerance for those types of things is quickly diminishing. And like if you want project cars and hate NVH, that's not really, those two don't really go hand in hand, unfortunately for me. Well, remember the case, so the poly mounts may not be terrible. Just the K series is a notoriously vibrating motor, especially the K24. Usually it has oil balancing shafts on the bottom, but I took those out because, you know, I wanted that extra couple horsepower. Like that's going to make a big difference. So, and you know, 4 cylinders are inherently unbalanced. So a lot of that transfers through the cabin. No, they were innovative mounts. Yeah, if you have the 1ZZ, I doubt it'll be that bad. Because, you know, when they make the car, they know what frequency the motor is going to be vibrating at when they design everything around it and isolate the cabin. When you go through and put a whole different motor in it, you take all the work they did and just kind of throw it out, because now the natural frequency that it's running at is going to be completely different than what they designed the whole car around. So I think you'll be okay. The vibrations and all that is a very complex thing, so I did no favors by changing the heart of the car, the whole power plant. Also, my rain guard's broken. I gotta do something about that. But if we don't have any more questions, what is it? It's 9:04 where I am, so I will call it in 5 minutes, so 9:09. So in 5 minutes, I'm gonna call it. I also wish these wheels were a little wider. Bit stock RPF ones. Black ones. As far as things to do on this car, assuming it runs right. Thanks, 6 foot 420. Appreciate the help. And thanks for tuning in. I hope it was at least entertaining. Yeah, need to change that. The wipers have rust on them. Need to refresh that. Well, thanks. I appreciate it. Love from North Carolina. That reminds me of 3000 GT. So, the 3000 GT, is that an underrated car that no one talks about for some reason? Because I feel like no one talks about those. I remember them from like Gran Turismo 2. When are you going to widen the track width on the Miata? Longer control arms? Oh, man. When I get a solid 3 years of this thing running without any issues, then I'll think about doing something crazy like that. If this thing can survive a high performance driving event, then I'll think about it. I want to change this too. Thanks for the motivation, 100%. Yeah, get after it. All you need to do is just promise a bunch of strangers on the internet you'll do it, and then you'll be motivated. Used to have a VR4 3000 GT back in high school. It was 98. That was a badass car. Yeah, like I said, I remember it in Gran Turismo, and I've seen them in person, and it's always a head turner when the rare times I see it in person. They look great, but for some reason, when everyone talks about 90s Japanese cars, no one ever mentions that. I don't know that much about it. I don't know if it was unreliable, but there's got to be a reason. But like, are they bottom dollar right now? Should I buy one and hang on to it for 10 years or something? Are they just like a secret that like a bunch of people that are into DSM cars, they hold on to it? Yeah, it's a cliche to say no new cars are built like that, but I don't know. New cars are just, it's weird. I've got weird thoughts about new cars. I don't want to hate on them relentlessly because that's kind of what everybody does. But I don't know, there's something off-putting. They're too perfect. Oh, another thing about this car that the camera might not pick up. The front bumper was resprayed. It's a slightly different shade of yellow. You can kind of tell there. And I'd love to get that fixed one day. All right. I think I'm going to call it a night, and I think I might even say a successful night because nothing's leaking. Yeah, the screens they are shoving in cars is outrageous. I watch a lot of car reviews, and even if for some reason, even like cars I know I'll never own, and I saw Savage Geese did a review, and I think it was the new Audi S5 or something, and the passenger glove box had a touch screen in front of it. And I just don't understand who that's for, what focus groups are asking for that, but that's just, I don't know. I don't like where it's heading. And like, what screen looks good after 3 years? Screens are the first thing to look dated. But I feel like that's a little bit of planned obsolescence, like it's on purpose to motivate people to upgrade. They're just going to become new phones. How everyone gets a new phone every 2-ish years on average. I think that's the grand plan with cars. Just make them a little more disposable and whatever. More like appliances. Again, cliche that everybody says, but I feel like it's true. I request a future car rant stream. Thank you, William. You don't want to hear me rant about stuff. I'll never stop. It's no good. Having me rant about cars, and especially like the YouTube builds I see, even car reviewers, it's no good. If I see one more car reviewer do a pull and then they do that laugh after they run through the gear, it drives me nuts. How like cookie cutter the formula is. But now I'm just bitching and moaning. I'll stop. Okay. I don't know. I can't be that guy. I'm supposed to be fun and happy and whatever on the internet, right? All right, it's 9:10. I gotta stop or else I'll never stop. I appreciate the help. Lately I've been doing this every Saturday. So next Saturday, we're either gonna do the MR2 or we're gonna do the Honda Acti. And I will post an update on if this thing is overheating or not. And if it's not overheating, I'll post like a video. I'll do a short of like a pull or something. I don't know. I'll figure it out. But appreciate it. Thank you, everyone. It was fun.